Good morning, sir. Sudarshan sir, am I audible, sir? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good morning to everyone.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So we are ready to start, sir. With all the panel members are here. So I'm happy to have the elite panel here from Santosh from MeitY, Ganapati Subramanian from UK, Rajiv Kumar from NIXI, and Anand Raji from IFOM. So with that, sir, before I start, I would request you to give the opening remarks, sir, for this Safer Internet Day and Responsible AI panel discussion.
So first of all, a very good morning to all of us, and safe and happy surfing as we celebrate our Safer Internet Day. I think the panel discussion has come on a right day, given that we are looking at AI Impact Summit, how AI can be positively impactful. That can only happen when we ensure safety and privacy. And our Ministry of Electronics and IT has taken the lead to celebrate this across the country in a much more reach out manner, I'll put it that way, compared to the past years. And we had across the country different channels, including Akashvani and all, having dedicated sessions covering this day. And the entire thing is also related to how the internet is governed today. So we have Santoshji from MeitY, who handles this particular aspect, one of the most used but least understood aspect of internet. And the governance framework has to go beyond just providing the encryption kind of thing, confidentiality of the past, to privacy, taking care of things like emotional attacks that could happen because of the deepfakes and other AI-related impacts that can negatively happen. It is all the more important for us from the ministry as the team that is involved in making the standards and guidelines and implementing new technologies, making the digital economy and digital society more real. From that perspective, I think this celebration and the awareness day today is going to go a long way, ensuring privacy, safety, and creating a good amount of trust in the digital ecosystem. And I'm very glad that Dr. Balaji has been able to catch hold of all of you at such a short notice across the globe. And we know today there are multiple invites and so many events happening. And next week being the India AI Impact Summit, every one of us, including the elite panel members, are busy. But nothing takes away the importance of internet and digital experience being safe and comfortable and trustworthy. So I welcome all the participants, the panel members, and the people who will be watching it later. Typically we have it recorded and made available on our PK and other websites. We will be watching
also
in
being
the future.
Live streamed, sir. It's also being live streamed.
So all the online participants who are watching it live, let the internet and digital experience be safe, rewarding, and bring positivity of the usage. So with that, just I will make one point that with the support of Ministry of Electronics IT, NIXI, ICANN, and other bodies, IEEE, CDAC is very strongly contributing to making the entire digital space trustworthy. In that context, we have set up a National Center for Digital Trust, which any of you and all of you can visit and experience the efforts made by various stakeholders, including government bodies like CDAC, SETS, and industries, startups, MSMEs, PSUs. They are all showcased under one umbrella. The idea is, as India becomes a larger digital economy, one of the leaders and visionaries in digital economies in the world, it is important that the journey is showcased and people feel that it is not just a hearsay, but it is a concentrated effort by all the stakeholders. So though we do a lot of activities, maybe NCDT will summarize all that we have done and we are doing, we plan to do as a country, which will make India proud. India made for the world, a reality with a Viksit Bharat guaranteed in 2047. I hand over it back to Dr. Balaji to take it forward. I'm looking forward to it. I'll keep my video muted in the interest of bandwidth and others, but I'm all ears. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the setting the context and providing an enriching background of what this day is signifying to all of us and what, as a country and as a community, that we need to ensure for safer internet for our generation as well as for the next and the previous generations. So that's what we are aiming to do this with this discussion today. So before I go into the discussion, I formally would like to welcome each of our panel members. So let me start with Sri T. Santosh, who is a scientist here at the Internet Governance Division of Internet Governance Division of the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. He is a key official within the ministry handling matters related to Internet governance. He has been focusing on evolving aspects of Internet governance, including digital forensics and domain name systems. He has been actively involved in the discussions on the role of GTLDs, that is generic top-level domains, which is again coming up, and in creating a secure and trusted digital spaces, and has spoken on these themes at various forums. Sri Santosh has been associated with the events of Internet Governance Forum, and in late 2024, he highlighted the importance of GTLD at events across, hosted by the Press Information Bureau. So welcome you, sir. Thank you for your kind acceptance. Then I move on to Sri Ganapathy Subramanian, who is a senior information security professional, currently serving as the information security director for the emerging East Asia, as well as the Indian region, as well as the Latin American region at UPS. He is based out of UK, and he is also acting as an independent governor for the University of the West of England, Bristol, where he serves on the Finance, Estates and IT Committee. We welcome you, sir, for this meeting. Next, I move on to Sri Anand Raje, who is the co-founder and chief technology officer of the India Internet Foundation, IIFON, with over 18 years of experience in internet technology, security, and infrastructure. He is a prominent researcher in the internet resiliency, DNS security, and post-quantum cryptography, leading initiatives like the AI ORI platform. Welcome to you, Anand Raje. Yeah. Next, we move to Sri Rajiv Kumar. Sri Rajiv Kumar is a seasoned technology and registry professional, currently serving as the manager registry operations at National Internet Exchange of India, NIXI, a role he has been performing since the year 2020. With over 18 years of experience at NIXI, he has a deep expertise in managing the .in registry operations, registry coordination, DNSSEC, IPv6, IDNs, and compliance-related processes. We welcome you, Rajiv ji, for this particular session. So with this introduction, I request, before I shoot up the questions, I thought I would request each and every one of you, the panel members, what signifies as a safer internet day to each one of you, so that we can, then I can come to the questions. That's what I've articulated. So let me start with Santosh sir. You can tell us what is your opinion according to what is the safer internet day and what your opening remarks on this topic.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Balaji, for this session. And once again, congratulations to all for the Safe Internet Day. Yes, there are lots of challenges which is there. So if I say as an internet user, what should be the safe internet? So I can categorize it into governance as well as the technical or the standards which has to be kept in place, so that to make a internet users rely on, a user can rely on internet. So starting with the governance, what I can say, all the internet domains across the globe has to be identified, because this is all internet works on the public identifier like domain names, IP address, as well as protocols. So similarly, on the governance structure, all the KYC or the data accuracy has to be done. Whenever we provide a domain, provide a IP address, so that is a must. Globally, that is not in place, whereas in India, on .in country code top level domain, the KYC is 100%, right? So for an internet user, if she or he takes a .in domain, rest assured that domain is safe. Now coming to the second one, I will detail it later. It is on standards. Whatever solutions, application we come up in India, specifically I can say about India, it has to have the standards, internet standards in place. Like say, for example, for email, it has to be all the standards like DMARC has to be there, DMARC. And coming back to the domains, DNSSEC has to be implemented in toto at all levels. So I am stopping here. So back to Dr. Balaji. Thank you. Dr. Balaji, you are on mute.
Thank you, sir, for giving us the overall points as well as which need to be covered or emphasized during the session discussion. Next, I move to Ganapati Subramaniam, sir. Please, your views on opening remarks on this particular topic.
Yeah, a safe internet is from different perspective. One from the state in terms of what action can state take to make sure that the internet is safe, and what action can the common man take, right? So it's a spectrum of responsibilities lying between the common man. I mean, I really get shocked when I read about the digital arrest case that happened in India, or the proliferation of it, right? Something unbelievable. I don't see that happening in the West for some reason or the other, despite us being one of the well-educated community and a young community. I'm surprised to, or rather shocked to see the kind of digital arrest case that continue to happen, and where very high-profile individuals fall victim to such kind of stuff, right? So this internet has to be safe for the common man, and for internet has to be safe for the common man. The key thing is about awareness, right? Beyond technology, beyond capability, beyond accessibility. So that's where I think it starts with the state taking responsibility on one hand, and common man coming up or growing up in terms of awareness. I think that will be my opening remark. I mean, I'll give you one example. Very recently, in the last 4 days, European Union has taken action against TikTok under Digital Services Act for making its algorithm very addictive. So TikTok has been asked for explanation, and notice has been served on TikTok. So safety is just not about being protective. Safety is also about, I think your director talked about mental issues kind of stuff, right? So when TikTok becomes addictive, people have got mental health issues. So safety is also about that. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I think your opening remarks actually give us the other side, the perspective from the other regions, as well as the important aspects of mental safety or mental health also, which needs to be emphasized, added along with the safety part. So that is really a very important point. I think, to be honest, I am not prepared on those particular lines, but that's a very important take. And anyway, we will come to you further on this. So as we move on, I request Rajiv from NIXI to give his opening remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Balaji, to give me opportunity to speak the such type of audience. And for opening remarks, the safe internet define the different country has the different definition. So I go to a CCTLD point of view so that every country has their own definition of internet for the safe internet. The DNS is the backbone of internet. Trust in DNS equal to the trust in the internet. Any compromisation in the DNS level affect millions of users. So safe internet start with the secure, resilient, transparent DNS ecosystems. If the CCTLD is as per the law of land, run as per the law of land, there is a control of law of land. So the safe internet governed easily by the DNS if the CCTLD is secured. And for securing the DNS, you have to mandatory KYC each level. Your registrar KYC is done yearly. Your reseller, the registrar reseller KYC done by the registrar, and the registrant KYC done by the registry level, registrar level, and reseller level. So that if any compromise in the internet, we can at least identify the culprit, the registrant, who is doing the wrong things or illegal things. So it's my opening remarks to you, Valence.
Thank you, Rajivji. I think you gave the perspective from the internet service providers as well as the internet exchange point viewpoint. So as we go forward again, we'll take up this discussion further. Now, next I request Anand Raji to share his opening remarks.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Dr. Balaji, having me in this esteemed panel. It was really great listening to the opening remarks, and there are lots of things to discuss today. While from my perspective as a user and kind of working on the engineering and research part of internet for quite long and work on different stacks and kind of using it, I can see internet evolving, not only domains, kind of mobile apps, then the platforms that we use, IoTs, and lot many things, smart cities, smart gadgets, everywhere there is internet. And when we have seen internet getting evolved and the engineering standards are making it more secured. Kind of, it was not kind of secured by design. We have passed standards and that make it secure. We need to have operational standards as well, because that is very much important nowadays, because you have engineering standards which is making internet secure, resilient. But operationalization is very important because we are running different versions of standards at the same time that may be becoming insecure for the user. And the third thing, which is one of the key aspects, even Dr. Ganpati has also told about it, the awareness, the behavioral standards. This is very important whenever we talk about kind of kids who are using AI. Different people on different age group, different locality, different geographies, they have different ways of understanding how internet works and ways of understanding the trust behind internet. So definitely there are different stakeholders that need to work together. It will not work on isolation. My opening remarks on this will be, if the internet has been giving us communication in a layered approach, the security and trust should be layered. It should not be a responsibility of awareness or kind of a different layer. It should be layered approach. Thank you.
Thank you. I think from the technical perspective, how we need to ensure the stack is up for this opening remarks, Anand. So anyway, since we started drifting towards AI, so let me start with the question on AI. We know that AI is now capable of writing compilers and codes, etc. So at this point of time, now it's quite easy to make impersonation very fast and quick through AI. And it's also becomes very scary when deepfakes of voices or synthetic voices of the family members or kith and kin is voiced out, trying to scam people, meaning fake banking or whatever it may be. So what can be done? Probably stronger digital identity or digital domain governance or any real-time measures which can be done for a responsible AI in the internet scenario? What can be done apart from this, or what we should think this thing? So I'm posing this question to every one of you. So I think Anand started. So let I go the reverse way. So Anand, you can share your thoughts on this.
Yeah, thanks. So definitely it's a different world nowadays. Agentic AIs, whenever we work with the kind of our developers, kind of any kind of code that comes out, we are trying to optimize. The second way is definitely it's the impersonation that is happening, video, chats, anything it can kind of impersonate over here. I'll just give a very easy example. I'll set over this and digital identity, like Santoshji and Rajivji was talking about the .in, which is very much secured because we have the KYCs. Now think of the mobile apps where we don't have the KYCs, and kind of it is not governed by kind of the domain name type of governance which I can do. Now think of as an operational security, what has been done in past few 1 year, like bank.in has been introduced in India. Now, as an operational best practices or a standard, it's very good because let's say if anybody who is kind of using banks, they know that if it is .bank.in, then it is a valid website. Now you go on a different layer and the name servers also there in .in. So then you are becoming more trustworthy. The same way, the digital identities need to be very much enforced. Let's say if there is one video or anything happens with digital watermarking, kind of we can incorporate different technologies over here so that we can have digital identities which are trustworthy. Because as a kid, whenever he or she goes to Google and try to search, or anybody who don't know about the nuances of trust on internet, they easily get trapped because they trust that this information is coming from a very viable source. Now we need to understand the source itself, and that should be very transparent. These are very nuanced things. So before, Google was giving us around 10, 12 or 100 options, and we can reach out to that source of information. Today AI is giving us one option, and that can be biased, that can be wrong. It depends on how the models are trained and how much information has been fed over there. And there can be manipulations on the learning of those models. So this is a very important aspect of kind of giving the digital trust, the identities, and also the transparent learning models, which can provide us a safer internet for use. The only challenge over here is those who are using internet, they are believing that anything coming from internet is trustworthy, and that is something which need to be changed, which need to be understood. So bank.in, I'll just give an example. These are, if we can say, is an operational standards that we need to introduce. So responsible AI, maybe there are some set of operational standards by the state governance is something which is required so that at least those users who are using it are in a better position to use it and work in a trustworthy environment. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Anand. Actually, I think you highlighted the importance, and I think implicitly it was coming out. Whatever has been trained, that is only going to come out. So, what content has been trained and what was fed into the LLM system, that also matters. So, thanks for the point. Next, I will put it to Rajiv. What's your take on this particular?
Thank you, sir. In my opinion, the AI-based deepfake and what is the things that are communicated, the video creation and all the things. Maybe AI company may be regulated the users who is using their software, or government may create a AI regulatory body where the person can use the AI-based tools for creating a such type of content. So the KYC is required. For DNS, we are working for the KYC. I just work for the similar thing will be a that's why at least we can recognize who is the culprit and who is the creator of that website. Earlier, before we go to the back of the AI era, that time the video is also created through the hidden camera and all the things. These are also misused. But that times at least we can get the IP address from where this content is uploaded. at least we can find that culprit where this type of content is used, where the content is used from, and where the at least IP can the law enforcement agency identify the misuse of AI. And for the communication part, it is only DNS or internet where the data is uploaded, and so that we can identify the registrant on which website it is uploaded this such type of content. If it is through the app, so we can also the law enforcement also closely working with the app services like WhatsApp and all the working all the internet what do you say AI based app based users creators, content creators. So adoption of accurate registration of domain name, API users, app-based users can be identified so that we can monitor the such type of such type of video we can restrict on that.
Thank you, Ajit. I think you pointed out a very important thing. In the initial days, it was at least by using the source IP, you can find out the source of the content. Now, in the AI world, finding the source of the content itself is going to be challenging. Whether it is real or false, that itself is a bigger challenge. And then importance of tagging or watermarking is also important for emphasizing on that. So now I move to Ganapati Subramaniam, sir. Your views on this particular aspect.
Yeah, mandatory labeling of synthetic data is a very fundamental thing in terms of this deepfakes. Again, I want to draw a parallel, right? If you take European Union, it has got the Europe AI Act, which actually defines the various roles in terms of the players in the market. So who is a deployer, who is an implementer, right? Who is a distributor. So even if somebody imports a product into EU and then distributes that product, then he or she is accountable for that AI tool. So responsibility is actually what you call state is promoting accountability to people at different level, right? Then we are also talking about laws in different countries, right? China has got a deep synthetic provisions act, right, which says that mandatory labeling of synthetic data. If you take US, again, California, Texas, Virginia, all of them have got again deepfakes related laws which actually criminalize creation and distribution of these kind of videos. So I think as much as we are into Privacy Act now in India, we should move forward. We should move further to see a lot of laws are there to regulate these kind of activities, in my opinion. So it is beyond technology, beyond identity. I think there must be a law in place to protect the common man.
Thank you, sir. That's a very interesting perspective. So where laws are really required to in and regulate the at least the labeling of the synthetic content and this thing, whether the synthetic content is for entertainment or for research or for any purpose it may be, at least that particular thing is being shown and proven. That is, I mean, at least to the user or that makes things really helpful for all the people. So thank you, sir, for bringing out this point. And now I move to Santosh, sir, for your views on this particular aspect.
So during the conversation on AI, the guardrails has been emphasized several times because I mean all the state or all the countries said, I mean they were in the same page that yes, there has to be guardrails on AI. So all the, I mean, the methods which has been mentioned by the eminent panelist, I mean, I agree on that. So again, this AI summit, which is going to happen during the next week, it will be emphasizing on this very aspect. I mean, India will be pressing a lot to come out with the various regulations, and there could be altogether a new kind of AI governance which will be coming into place. So coming back to the internet governance aspect, in which there has been a plethora of domain generating algorithm which has come into place by which many domains are created, right? So in this scenario, the ICANN has come out with various policies on how to regulate that. So there are two such things. One is on the associated domain. Say, I mean, I have a domain like ICIC. I mean, there can be many possibilities, right? Permutations of having a ICIC. So how to regulate that? So ICANN, along with all the constituents, is working on that scenario. Now coming back to AI, the major thing which we have to emphasize is on the awareness, which is being done, but it has to be done on a continuous basis to each category of people, say elderly, because I mean, they may hear their son's voice who is saying that he or she requires some money. So awareness is must, but there are plethora of information available. So user doesn't know where to go. So for that, I mean, shortly, I mean, we will be having a specific internet domain or a web address wherein which each can go through that, see the videos, and do the recourse. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think you brought us back closer to the home or closer to the question that where if somebody hears the relatives, their own family's voice, members' voice, many synthetic voice, which is actually being created by scamsters, how do they need to protect themselves? So basically, there's a very one of the important point that is getting emphasized, and basically awareness is one of the main solutions for that, and that's one of the ways in which we are doing it here. But apart from that, sir, since you know that large scale alarms, basically large scale, we can say harms are also originating below the application layer or the user layer. Say, for example, DNS abuse, phishing attacks, routing hijacks, or even insecure peering and weak identity systems. So in that scenario, where do you think the responsibilities really lie, whether with the users, platforms, infrastructure providers, or the state itself? That's the point which we'd like ask to use.
Yeah, so this is the question which is being discussed in various or international organization, right? So you have raised this question at an appropriate time. For the information of all, the ICANN, that is Internet Corporation of Assigned Names and Numbers, next meeting is being held the next month, that is from 7th to 12th. And DNS abuse is very important topic which is being discussed under all the constituents of ICANN. So as mentioned by the various abuse which you had mentioned, so each constituent, so it is a problem across the globe, right? So I mean, one doesn't have a single answer. So it has to have a governance structure as well as the technical standard operating procedures. So that is being worked out presently. But as I had mentioned in my opening remarks, there has to be a certain standards which one has to implement, right? So I will mention, as I had mentioned, there is a standard called DNSSEC, which has to be implemented across, at least in our .in domain, I think when on one day at all levels. So let me take an example. If it is, say, mighty.gov.in, gov.in has DNSSEC certified thing. So MeitY, MEITY should also be DNSSEC signed, so that a person who clicks on that particular domain doesn't go to a third-party site. And coming back to the root hijacking, which is on the IP addressing thing, there is a standards called RPKI. So these are the standards which one has to implement. And above that, say suppose we are cut off from the internet, whether these standards will work, and that is what we need to study, and we need to implement this. So again, my answer to this question will be that the governance structure is still being ongoing. I would request each one of the participants over here to kindly go through the various policies which is happening in ICANN, right? And similarly, the standards working is happening at Internet Engineering Task Force. So I would urge, I believe the most of the will be from CDAC only, to actively engage in the standard making system, which is IETF, so that we as a country can raisen up and say that, okay, we have implemented it and we can reduce the DNS abuse, at least at a smaller level. Thank you.
That's a very valid point, sir. Actually, not only that passive participation, but an active participation in the standard making bodies by our own individuals will also help in evolving the safety net, whether it is the internet infrastructure or with the responsible AI. So that's a very good take on this, sir. So now I move to Ganapati Subramanian, sir. I have to request your views on this, and we'll be happy to hear what the rest of the world is looking at.
Yeah, again, as I said, stronger digital identity must be really made for high risk contents, right? So that it's very phishing attack resistant, or your hardware backed MFA, verified organizational identity, which somebody was talking at the beginning, right? And domain governance, what we really talk about, should be made as a public safety issue and just not a brand protection, right? Always we talked about brand protection historically, right, in terms of domain squatting and other things. But so domain related security must be a kind of a public safety issue today. And there must be some kind of a kill switch, right? Wherever it is needed, wherever you need to, particularly I'm talking about AI systems, related voice related systems, there must be some kind of a kill switch where you will be able to kill it, kind of a stuff. Yeah, if you really think beyond what you can do, some kind of a live monitoring. Again, as I said, I don't want to again divert the discussion to AI Act, which talks about responsibilities for right from the developer to the implementer to everything, etc. So responsibilities should be there even in this area where we are talking about domain protection. And the official digital presence, actually, whatever we say must be cryptographically verifiable, right? So if you're talking about governments, what do you call, banks, bank.in, etc., whatever you say, citizens should be really able to distinguish between the real content and the fake content, right? To that extent, there must be some level of signed content, verified domains, all the stuff has to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So that's a very nice perspective which you have brought out here. So basically, it's making a trustworthy presence. If we are presenting in a video and we are cryptographically verifiable, then it makes really a good sense. And generating artificial or simulated content without responsibility is also important. And also, you emphasize the role of developers who need to also look at the how ethically and how correctly their programs will be used. And maybe I'm just imagining that if somebody wants to create a content which is of more of a threatening or kind of trying to make the other person vulnerable, probably that content should be possible only if it is done in a movie kind of scenario, and that should be possible only if it is being licensed. So that particular solution is licensed for doing it. So then it becomes easier to probably look at this particular dimension. So I think maybe just this I thought I would like to share. So this is something which I think a very interesting take. So now we move to Rajiv, your take on this.
Thank you, Balaji sir. Before understanding the responsible of the AI enabling, we can go to the back to the before AI era. When the TLD launch, any TLD or zone is launched, we provide a sunrise period to a registrant to register their domain name or similar looking or homographic domain name with their name, so that the domain is not good for the any misuse of your domain name. So sunrise is the one of the period. Then we can introduce an anti-abuse policy where we can monitor each and every domain name and whatever the law enforcement agency like CERT, LEA is provided, we can put on the domain on hold. Currently, last 2 years, as per the direction of Ministry, MeitY and a law enforcement agency, we work closely to monitor each and every domain name, the address, KYC, whose detail, and the sensitive domain name. But the era come to the AI. We can talk with the AI perspectives. Then we can go for the early detection of the malicious domain name. We have pattern of recognition of phishing and abusive domain name. We are a risk-based domain monitoring instead of blanket censorships. So we closely work with the risk like CDAC team, and they can detect the malicious domain name, provided domain name. We take down that domain name, as well as we work one of the company, Sresta IT, to deduct the 4 layer of domain abuse. Or it is all is the early detection of malicious domain name, like domain name. If the domain address KYC domain address is incomplete or mobile number is incomplete, incorrect 111.222, or country code and the is PK and the country mobile code is the 9+91, is also the detection of the whose details is found in there. So we can work for the 4 layer of detection. First, we see the domain name is abusive registration or not by the KYC. We can also see the registrant pattern, like suppose Rajiv.in book a abusive domain. Maybe in future, Rajiv is also going to register an abusive domain name. So we can analyze the AI based, we can analyze the Rajiv registration pattern and monitoring the Rajiv domain registration. We are start the content monitoring part, and we are working with the IP detection where the actual domain is registered from. We capture the in future is the future development by using the AI. Suppose I am sitting in the Canada and registering a domain name address using the Gurugram. It is also a violation of the KYC. I am sitting in India and registering using the address of Canada. We are saving the GST from India. It is also a crime as per the IT Income Tax Act. So this type of activity is fine. Currently, I attend the APTLD 89 in Jordan, Amman. I raised the question, why are you not using the geotagging of whose detail? At least we can identify the domain is registered from where. It is actual register, the registrant provide the address, or it is registered by the someone else. That there was a discussion was going on. They may be using the VPN and registered from the other country. But it may be, but at least the whose has a geotagging so that we can at least minimize the domain abuse registration. So for AI era, we can start using the software or technology to early detection of malicious domain registration, pattern recognition for phishing and abusive domain name, and risk-based domain monitoring instead of blanket censorship, with the help of risk from the CDAC Bangalore team and the Sresta IT teams. So thank you, Balaji sir. It's my points.
Thank you. That's a very wonderful thing. Basically, how AI can be utilized for securing the internet infrastructure, including the DNS, including preventing DNS abuse, and how it can be protected. And a very important point on geo tagging of the users who are registering from where. That is will help in meaning, I think, the taxes for the country as well as where they are located. So that will also help in a number of other things also. I think these are very interesting points that has been covered. So now I move next to Anand for his views on this part.
Yeah, thanks, Balaji. And it's really enriching listening to everybody over here. I'll just add some points over here. From infrastructure, from standards point of view, agree with Santosh on the uses of RPKI and the uses of DNSSEC in the hierarchy of DNS. Now, if we see there are different stakeholders over here, and everybody need to kind of play their own role. When we talk about RPKI, the ISPs over here who need to sign their ROIs and then they need to validate that. That's very important. The percentage of validation should rise so that the correct prefixes they are kind of validating in their own networks. Now, the second thing that comes whenever anybody is using any websites and let's say e-commerce website or any critical website, the DNSSEC should be signed. Now, there are multiples of it and there are different versions of it. There are two best practices I would like to recommend over here. One is Manners, MANARS, which is a mutually agreed norms for routing security, which is providing all the kind of routing security that need to be enforced at the peering and routing level, so that there should be security hygiene at the infrastructure level, the operational best practices. And one is from ICANN is kindness, which is kind of how authoritative servers and recursive servers should maintain hygiene. So there are best practices which need to be adopted by the stakeholders like ISPs, the enterprise networks, the stakeholders who are managing it at that level. From infrastructure point of view, I can see there is a kind of consolidation of some of the organizations who are taking care of DNS and other stuffs. It should be that there are more startups and there are more companies who should come over here and can work on these domains, because these are very deep tech area. In India, there are few people who are kind of working on these things. This is very important from that perspective. And now the part of is whenever we're talking about responsible AI, definitely it is kind of content which is served over internet. And I fully agree with Ganpati ji on the kind of governance and the kind of laws that requires over there. So from internet perspective, you see from infrastructure, the standards and others, there are various stakeholders that make it possible. And if you want a trustworthy ecosystem over there, labeling, which is kind of very important, the digital identities, which is cryptographically verifiable, and then the standards which are trustworthy. These things kind of make an ecosystem which is trusted and can be bought possible. So my approach would be kind of a few cents over here is all the stakeholders need to work on their own respective areas. And then I think we can have a trustworthy internet ecosystem for the whole country and for the whole globe. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Anand. Actually, that gives the overarching perspective. So with that, I would like to come to the final question. So how objectively we can measure safer internet? That's one question. And what measures do individuals, organizations, and government need to do for that? You have already answered part of it, but to summarize and your kind of final remarks on this particular part.
Yeah, thanks. So part of it I have already kind of shared. There are few things that we need to understand. Internet, if we see from the standards perspective, it is not secured by design. So that is something, and we are kind of giving it more and more payloads, more critical infrastructure on this. Definitely, maybe the architecture will change in time. It's kind of going on. But the fact is, when we are working on it, best practices is the way forward. There are various best practices which need to be adopted by different stakeholders. Government has a key role in kind of making them aware, bringing them on that particular platform, making laws on the sites. User need to be aware of their behavioral standards, how they need to use internet on for their benefits. And the various stakeholders who are kind of giving internet services and then their own content over there, they need to kind of abide by these best practices. That is something which is very important over here if we go forward. Second thing is measuring everything is very important. There are various ways to measure, and if we cannot measure things, then we cannot actually understand what is happening, and then we can evolve and we can usually change the way it need to be changed. So measuring each and every aspect is very important, and then try to objectively work on each and every aspect where the things need to be changed. Thank you.
Thank you, Anand, for this wonderful points. I think we should consolidate whatever we discussed, and then we'll come back. Maybe we can have a bigger discussions in the next upcoming forums. So next I move to Rajiv for your final remarks on this particular topic. What is the metrics that can be defined for measuring safer AI, and what we as an individual and organization governments can?
Thank you, Balaji sir. As Anand already told that the measuring is difficult because internet is keep changing, and it is a safer internet cannot build only at the user or application layer. The trust must be embedded at the internet core, DNS, naming, routing, and identity. NIXI believe in the secure internet infrastructure, verified domain name governance, and sovereign control of the critical internet resource are essential pillar for safe, resilient, and AI-ready internet for India. So it is only for me because the internet is keep changing. We have to update.
Yeah, that's the important point with technology. Things keep changing at a rapid pace, which others need to catch up. So thank you, Rajivji. Now I move to Ganapati Subramaniam sir for your final remarks on this.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, the entire system has got responsibility. It doesn't remain typically in conventional world. We'll say information security is a responsibility of every user in any corporate. But in this case, the ecosystem is much larger. It consists of individuals, organizations, the state or the government, the corporate players. So there are so many players, and everybody shares responsibility, right? So it starts with a individual having what do you call very strong defaults, whether MFA. Let's take how many of us use really MFA in our Gmail and when it is available, right? We really don't use it, right? Because its usability and security are inversely proportional variables, right? So we don't use it. So individuals must really have a level of awareness. State must have a responsibility. I strongly believe that state must have a much wider responsibility. And then corporates also, right? They must really treat an abuse prevention, say in the context of a AI solution, they must really treat an abuse prevention as a part of the core infrastructure, right? Security or privacy or protection, whatever you call it, must be by design, right? It's not by accident, or it's not a luxury add-on. So I think everybody shares responsibility and have to play their role, and which will actually bring in a kind of a safe ecosystem, whichever technology you use, whichever platform you use, etc. So I think it's a responsibility shared by all the players equally, and state playing a much wider role, bigger role.
Thank you, sir. This is basically the point is shared responsibilities. Of course, with the state having the biggest power as well as the role for
allocate funds. Yeah, above all, allocate funds.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, okay, nice point. Finally to you, Santosh sir.
Yeah, thank you for this question. Now, yes, as mentioned by the eminent panelist, I agree. I mean, each stakeholder has their responsibility. I mean, as an user, I mean, I have to change my password. I mean, my banks used to send it, but whether we do it in our laptops regularly, that is also there. I mean, one has to do that regularly. I mean, it is not only us. I mean, it is also for the digitally illiterate people, right? So they should be also made aware. I mean, what are the standards or the SOPs one needs to follow? And also, I mean, if we talk about security, I mean, our device security is also very important. I mean, we have to update the system, the operating system. So the thing is, thin line is that, and awareness has to be there. Digital literacy has to be continued, and it has to be a continuous process. Now, coming to the organization, which is one of also very key constituent here. I mean, they have to have a what you call the architecture as a zero trust architecture, and they need to have this kind of the supply chain hardening also there, and also which I had mentioned, they have to have a they have to implement all the standards which is there, whether it is IETF or whether it's IEEE. And coming back to the state, which from India has also mentioned funds to provide enough funds, but before that, come out with laws which each constituents understand and which is implementable. And also the organization should adhere by that. One should have a kind of a policy, which has to be strict, and it has to be clearly mentioned, because there has been occasion wherein which the organization lose money, right? I am not taking certain aspect, but it has to be a balance. Why at one side the jobs are being going, the other side you need to have a trust. So a balancing act has to be kept by the state by making many awareness with the industry. So the major role of the government is to have a digital literacy at a mass scale, because as I mentioned, it has to be continuous, because more and more people are coming, they are not aware. But the thing is that which is the resource from which they will go, right? As all people have mentioned nowadays, if one have to do a bank transaction, it has to be bank.in. So that trust is coming into it. So every aspect, even if you are using some apps from the app store, that kind of a trust has to come. So all the constituents have to pay equal responsibility and hope to have a future safer internet. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, actually, for bringing out this thing that everyone has a role to play here, and also meaning to be abreast of the developments and ensure a safer internet. So it's not only one person's work; everybody's. It's a combined, joint responsibility for all of us to ensure that it is a safer internet for not only for all of us, for all the generations which are there. Before I conclude, sir, actually there are some questions which have come up in both this thing and the YouTube this thing also. But here I think anyone can pick up this question, sir. Two questions are there in the chat window. Any one of you can just go through that.
So let me start with the question which Mr. Kishore from CDAC has mentioned. He is coming out with a LLM on the digital forensics, right? Now the thing is that, you might have come, but from where you are getting the validation, that is what is important. The more the validation, the more equipped is the software. So that is the answer, because certain things it would be biased, right? So, you have to write a paper, present it, go to various various forum, then to get a validation on this software. That is the standard practice by which you get a validation, right? So,
Yeah.
I have not done myself things, so I would ask other panelists also to add upon what I have said. Thank you.
I think that's perfectly fine, sir. I'll next question. I think I will leave it to Ganapati, sir, regarding a platform called Montbook, a social platform for AI bots.
Yeah. Again, it starts with governance in terms of what you should have a governance rules in terms of to define what a bot-to-bot interaction is allowed to do, kind of stuff. As I said, UK has got a online Safety Act which talks about online harms and other things. And second, you can talk about capability containment, right? So that bots cannot quietly root around without any oversight, kind of stuff, right? You cannot have a unrestricted tool which can do whatever you want, kind of stuff, etc., right? There must be technically there must be some level of sandboxing, some level of egress controls, etc. And again, we go back to the fundamentals where we're talking about identity and accountability of the bots and their operators, right? There must be a verified bot identity. There must be kind of a tiered level of permission when you actually design it. And this online platform provenance, or actually a sort of a governance, right, where the bots, as much as we talked about synthetic labeling in AI, the bots must be able to present a machine readable I am a bot metadata and the plus the owner information, right? So that you are able to identify in terms of how the bots were created. Is it a machine created or a human created kind of stuff, etc. So it's a very long discussion for a short 2-minute question to answer, actually. But it's a very interesting question, and glad to have that question.
Thank you, sir, for bringing up these perspectives. I think the next question on dynamic DNS is rightly when we can be answered by Rajiv. I think with that question, we'll conclude this. Rajiv.
Thank you, sir. Dynamic DNS is where the IPs keep changing at the frequency of time. Like dynamic IP is the use allocated for the telephone user. The mobile IP is changing if you are calling to one person to another person. Same dynamic domain name where the IP number hosting is changing and with each refreshment. Refresh your domain and the IP changes the dynamic IP. So some CCTLDs not allow the dynamic registration, and some are allowed. It depends upon the CCTLD.
He is asking whether we can do it without providing registration information.
No. In CCTLD, in .in not. But if you want to register, you can go for a .tk. TK will allow you.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we had a really wonderful discussion. I think there are any more questions? Anyone? Before I...
Yeah. Hi, my name is Anup. So I wanted to point out some few things. So one of the thing is like Santosh sir was talking about DNSSEC and RPKI. Now DNSSEC just tells that who owns the domain name, whether the response coming is correct or not. And similarly, RPKI says that whether the who is the owner of the IP prefix and whether he is who is allowed to route it. Apart from them, there is no other security. At least from if we talk about from the perspective of phishing or like Subramaniam sir was talking about digital arrest. So in those things, it cannot help at all. Now, coming on to Rajiv sir. Rajiv sir was talking about KYC, but I think it has not been enforced on all domains because recently I bought a domain, there was no KYC, there was no geotagging. So if we can talk about this, why can't we enforce this, at least for India? Then next point was that in the domain, there is an option to hide the identity of the privacy part. You can hide the identity of who registered. But why do we hide it? Why can't we make it open so that if a domain is malicious, we can trace it? Even a normal person can trace it, who is the owner and who is hosting these kind of services. So it will be faster to trace and take action.
Yeah, I think...
I will go.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Few things. So these are the policy discussions which happen in ICANN. So I will start with the last question. Why the whois is not thick whois? I mean, there were two things: thick whois and thin whois. Now it all started with the GDPR, which came in place during 2018. So before that, everything was viewable. I mean, everyone can see what is the domain's registrant details, email ID, phone number, if they are put up correctly. Now, due to GDPR and various privacy laws, all this domain details have been redacted. I mean, it is masked. It is available with the registrar, but not available on a public thing. Now, due to which, I'm coming to another thing which law enforcement agency can face, government can also face. The thing is that who is the actual owner of this domain? So there is a process called registration service, RDRS. So RDRS is a process by which at least law enforcement agency, contractual organization can make a request stating that this domain is kind of a malicious. I want to know the details. it is up to the registrar to provide. So we from India has been making noise, making a huge noise in ICANN, stating that all the country code top level domain has also to be also included in this. So there are many registrars across the globe, but only say 30 odd registrars have agreed upon this mechanism. Right now, Anoop's earlier question was related to. Can you repeat that? I'm forgetting that. Your first question
about
was
RPK and DNSSEC, the differing.
So that, okay. Anyway, I agree that there is no specific standards on that. So yes, I mean, we have the opportunity to work and come up with the standards on that, right? I mean, we government emphasize that the KYC, even if it is an app store, they emphasize the KYC has to be done. And in case, I mean, there are intermediary guidelines is also in place by which action can be taken against the intermediary. I mean, whoever has it. So there are several cases on it, instances on it, wherein which government has written to this intermediary stating that you are doing wrong. So it is happening. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other panel members who want to share anything? Yes, Rajesh.
Anoopji, thank you for asking the question. It's very interesting. And we NIXI doing a KYC manually at the registry level, as well as put all the domain registration on the registry website, so that the any company or trademark violation is going on, they can reach out to us and we can put the domain name on hold. Yes, KYC is mandatory for all the registrant, and it may be applicable by end of the March. Not a KYC, it is a e-KYC. And we are closely working with the DigiLocker and the DGO, one of the company, to provide the services for the e-KYC. And many of the our domain registrar like GoDaddy, Endurance, and 100 plus domain registrar is closely working with the DigiLocker and ensure that the e-KYC is implemented by end of this March. For the company registration, we also working for the entity locker. It's the part of DigiLocker parts. And whenever the entity locker is allow us to do a e-KYC of the company, we can start the e-KYC of the company as well. And it's become a mandatory, but due to the infrastructure change, they take a time and they get a permission with MeitY and us to give me a 6-month time so we can implement the e-KYC as soon as possible. And if they promise, they can complete it by the March 2026.
Thank you, Rajivji, for the clarification. I think we had a wonderful discussion, and definitely these discussions we need to carry forward. And I'm sure that we'll get enough opportunities in the future too. So now I request my colleague, Mr. Ramesh, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, all. Myself, Ramesh from CDAC Bangalore. Respected dignitaries, esteemed panel members, and dear participants, on behalf of CDAC Bangalore, it's my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this insightful and engaging session on safe internet and responsible use of AI. I extend my sincere gratitude to Dr. S.D. Sudarshan, Executive Director, CDAC Bangalore, for the inspiring welcome address and for setting the tone of the session with his visionary thoughts on digital responsibility in the era of AI. I would like to express our heartfelt thanks to our distinguished panel members for sharing their valuable insights and perspectives, namely Mr. T. Santosh, Scientist Staff, MeitY, Government of India, Dr. Ganpati Subramaniam, University of the West of England, Mr. Anand Raje, CTO, IIFON, Mr. Rajiv Kumar, Manager, NIXI. Your expertise and thought-provoking discussions have greatly enriched our understanding of internet governance and ethical and responsible use of AI in today's rapidly evolving digital landscape. A special word of appreciation to Dr. Balaji sir, scientist of CDAC Bangalore, for efficiently moderating the panel and steering the discussion in a focused and engaging manner. I would also like to thank all the participants for their active presence and keen interest, which made this session truly meaningful. Finally, I acknowledge the efforts of the organizing team and all those who work behind the scenes to ensure the smooth conduct of this event. With this, I once again thank everyone for their valuable time and contributions. And I wish you all continued success. And I wish we will have such an events in future with a large gathering and provide insights and build a responsible and ethical ecosystem in India. Thank you and have a great day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks for being here. Let's close. Thank you.